What's good, YouTube? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Treyarch, who is set to release a Season 5 Reloaded and of course a final zombie maps, right guys? So some persons believe that Treyarch has actually thrown in a towel as it relates to Call of Duty Black Ops 7 because I guess they realize that most persons aren't interested in the multiplayer aspects, but most persons are now saying that the zombies are actually good, right guys? So I'm here to give you all some information in regards to that. Also, we're going to be talking about Season 7 like I did. Of course, the last time I spoke about Black Ops 7 was when we talk about an update that they did, which was supposed to give us the classic type of skill-based matchmaking or whatever they want to call it, but ultimately, you know, players didn't get that, which made a lot of persons upset. You know, of course, persons don't like to be rug pulled, so of course a lot of persons is moving on, I guess, and they're happy that the Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 ports is on PlayStation 4 and 5, so at least they get to play that. Anyway guys, I'm gonna give you all some information like I said, but before I go any further, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so, and make sure y'all turn the notification bell, put it on all, that way you can get notified whenever I post a new video. Alright guys, so let's get into this story without further ado. Treyarch has given up on Black Ops 7. Season 5 Reloaded and final zombie maps raise major concern. Black Ops 7 appears to be entering the final stretch of its life cycle, and the latest details surrounding Season 5 Reloaded has sparked fresh criticism from players who feel Treyarch and Activision are already moving on from the game. After months of updates, controversy and community backlash, Season 5 Reloaded is shaping up to be a surprisingly small content drop for a game that was marketed around receiving a full year of post-launch support rather than delivering a major expansion packed with multiplayer maps, weapons and new features. The upcoming update is centered around a relatively limited section of additions. The biggest multiplayer addition is Turbo Tilt, a new small-scale map designed for 6v6 and 2v2 gameplay. The map takes place inside a giant Nuketown-themed pinball machine, giving it a colorful and unusual setting that could make it stand out from the more traditional environments found throughout the game. While the concept behind Turbo Tilt has generated some interest, the limited amount of additional player or multiplayer should say content has become the bigger talking point. Alongside the map, players will receive a new free-run course that's called Mace, also a melee weapon and a small number of weapons attachment. This includes additional customization options for weapons such as the RK9 and Peacekeeper. However, compared with the expectations surrounding a major seasonal update, some players believe the package feels considerably light than what they were promised. The situation becomes even more interesting when looking at the timing. Black Ops 7 was promoted as the live service Call of Duty that would receive 6 seasons of post-launch content. Players who purchased the game or access it through Game Pass therefore had an expectation that the game would continue receiving meaningful updates throughout its year. Instead, Season 5 Reloaded has left some members of the community questioning whether the developers have effectively entered maintenance mode while attention shifts towards the next Call of Duty release. That criticism has been amplified by the controversial surrounding classic matchmaking. Activision and Treyarch introduced the matchmaking system after the popularity of the original Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 surged, particularly following the renewed interest in these older games. The classic titles reportedly perform extremely well on PlayStation, creating significant demand for a matchmaking experience inspired by the older Call of Duty era. However, the implementation in Black Ops 7 quickly became controversial, with many players feeling that the system did not live up to what they expected. The resulting backlash created another major problem for the game at a time when it needed positive momentum. With the controversy still fresh, the relatively light Season 5 Reloaded offering has only added fuel to the argument that Black Ops 7 is being pushed towards the background. Even more significant is what's happening with zombies. Treyarch is preparing to release Rex Infernus, the final round-based zombies maps for Black Ops 7. The map represents a conclusion of the game's zombie storyline and is expected to serve as one of the final major pieces of the content for this title. Rex Infernus introduces another major confrontation for the zombies crew, along with the enemies, new enemies that is, gameplay mechanics, rewards and other additional designs to bring the storyline to a conclusion. For zombie fans, the release is potentially much bigger than a normal seasonal map because it could mark the end of the mode's current era for several years. With the next Call of Duty title moving towards a release and the franchise development schedule already extending into future years, there is growing speculation about when players will see another full-scale Treyarch zombie experience. That makes Rex Infernus particularly especially important. Rather than simply being another map added during the game life cycle, it could effectively become the closing chapter of this generation of zombies before the franchise eventually returns to the mode in a future Treyarch title. The bigger question is now is whether Black Ops 7 can recover any momentum before its life cycle ends. There are still players who enjoy the game, and Treyarch has not officially announced that the development or support has been abandoned. However, the combination of the matchmaking controversy, the increasingly limited seasonal content, and the arrival of the next Call of Duty has created a perception that the game is being phased out. That is especially disappointing for players who supported Black Ops 7 throughout the year and expected the promised seasonal content to remain substantial until the end of its cycle. Season 5 Reloaded therefore arrives under very different circumstances from what Treyarch and Activision may have originally intended. Instead of being viewed simply as another major content update, it has become part of a much larger conversation about whether Black Ops 7 has already reached a point where the developers are looking towards the next game. The upcoming update could still provide some fun experiences, particularly for players interested in the unusual turbo tilt map and the conclusion of the zombie storyline. But if the current direction continues, the remaining life of Black Ops 7 could be far quieter than many players expected. For now, the question hanging over the community is simple. Has Treyarch given up on Black Ops, or is the studio simply preparing to close the book on the game before the Call of Duty moves into its next chapter? With the Rex Infernus bringing the zombie storyline towards its conclusion and Season 5 Reloaded offering a relatively small multiplayer package, fans may soon have their answer. So yeah guys, that's what's going on as it relates to Black Ops 7, Season 5 Reloaded. And I'm gonna tell y'all straight, I think Treyarch, they have given up on this game because they realize no one really loves it, to be honest. Obviously some persons are interested in zombies, and of course you have some persons who like the classic playlist that they gave us, because of course it had the classic movement, and you don't gotta bounce and do all that extra type of running. But at the end of the day, that wasn't enough to save the game, especially what they did with the SBMM. They were going to give us the classic type of matchmaking, and because of course they saw how good Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 ports was doing on the PlayStation 4 and 5, so they told us that we're going to give you all that experience. It's not going to be the same exact thing, but they tried to make it look like it was going to be as close as possible, when in fact it almost seemed like they did a worse job. They might as well just made it stay how it was instead of just doing what they did, because at least if they didn't say anything, they wouldn't have gotten the backlash and just continue to leave in a bad taste in the fans or in the players' mouth. You get what I'm saying, guys? But yeah, that's what's going on. Let's just watch and see what's going to happen when Season 5 Reloaded comes out. And they said that they were going to give 6 seasons, right? And guess what? It seemed like you might not even get Season 6. So let's just watch and see, like I said. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Stay safe. Peace.